Hey, I've been meaning to do this book review for a while, just haven't gotten around to it. So I figured I'd do it tonight. So I'm going to be talking about Geneen Roth, Women, Food, and God. And I'm sure a bunch of you guys have seen this book. Oprah actually interviewed this author, I guess, in her last season. And Oprah declared that after she read this book, she'd never diet again. I guess it has different impact on different people. Um, I like Geneen Roth's work. I know I talked about it several months ago that I was working through her workbook about, it's called Why Wait, talking about overeating and food in general. And so when this book came out, and my friend Carolyn in LA recommended it to me, I decided to check it out and see what it had to say. I thought it was really compelling. She's a good writer. She has a way of really just from page one just diving into the subject matter. So she kind of just calls it how it is. I think that's probably a fair way to sort of the overall way that the book is sort of presented. She spends a lot of time talking about where she does women retreats, where 80 women come to sort of talk about their issues with food. And not all the women who come are people who overeat. There are people who undereat as well. But ultimately, the issue is that they have this negative relationship with food, and they see food as a scary thing, or food is a thing they can't have control over, or food that they have control over, but everything else in their life is all jacked up. So it was really a compelling read. I think I read it like in 2 days. I just sort of kept going through it. What I thought was interesting, one of these statements she makes is basically your relationship with food tells the world or somebody watching you how you sort of deal with all the other parts of your life. Sort of how you deal with your feelings and your family and your friends is a direct reflection on how you engage food. So if you pile it on, often people who overeat are stuffing feelings. Maybe they feel mute or silent in other parts of their lives, or they feel scared that they can't say what they mean to say, and so they use food to sort of stuff it, and so they can continue to be a part of censoring themselves. Um, and it's a difficult road to hoe. She also talked about women who didn't engage food, who didn't eat, and somehow that was a way of punishing themselves. Maybe something happened, or they were responsible for something, or they thought they were responsible for something, and they wanted to stay in that guilty place. And I know we've all been hungry, and that sort of cranky, edgy feeling you have towards the end when you're like, somebody feed me. I think women who don't eat want to have that empty pit feeling in their stomach to remind them that they're not worthy, that they're these empty vessels that don't deserve to be filled up. So like I said, this is a heavy read. So if you pick this book up, be prepared to go there, right? She doesn't really pump her brakes at any good time. Although the book is called Women, Food, and God, I thought the book was God light, like Lite. I felt like she actually tacked God on at the back end of it, sort of like to pull in maybe folks who are Christians or believers, right? I really felt like the bulk of the book was about how women engage food, and the wrestle they have with that, and how they need to sit still with their hunger, or sit still with the food, or sit still with the pain. One of the exercises she asks you to do is to sit at a table and eat your meal without listening to music or reading or writing or watching TV. It's just you, the plate, and the food. And she relays that she asked a woman to do this at one of her retreats, and the woman was like, absolutely not. I always listen to jazz when I eat dinner. And she said, what would it mean that you sat in silence? And it turned out the woman was single, and she was like 56 years old. And she said, if I didn't have anything to distract me, then I'd have to realize I was a single, middle-aged woman who had been in a relationship in 10 years, and that I was just pathetic. And so being able to distract myself while I ate my food basically sort of shielded her from the feeling of no love, no life. So like I said, compelling stuff. It it spoke to me. That's not necessarily my issue, but it definitely spoke to how I use food to stuff down my feelings or stuff down my voice if I feel like what I need to say can't be heard, or that it's going to hurt more to say it than just keep my mouth shut. But obviously, ultimately, I'm injuring myself by shoving the food down. The body project for me has been as much internal as external. So even as the smaller I get, ultimately internally, I'm also trying to get light there too, right? I'm trying to unburden myself with all the baggage and all the coping skills I've sort of created over the years to manage whatever my historical hurts or pains are. So, but all that to say, I like the Women, Food, and God. As I said, it's God light. It's more compelling when she just talks about the women and their food and their struggle and how they champion their cause over food. And I think like the last chapter is really where she really talks about God, like in reconciling your feelings with food and healing that fracture, you ultimately find God in yourself. So, that's how I sort of felt at the end of the book, like, she could have left that part out. So that's it. The book goes for, I got a hardback because I love hardback. This book went for about $24, but I know you can probably get it on Amazon for between $11 and $16. So I think it's worth the read. Like I said, I read it in 2 days, and she goes in from page 1. So just for folks who are interested in reading, know that she's going to be sort of putting your issues out there from break. So that's it. Hope you pick the book up. Tell me if you read it. Tell me what you think about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you guys had a good Friday, and I'll talk to you later. Alrighty.